He's clapping for you. We can all clap. Thank you. Ah, nice. At this point, allow me to welcome the first stakeholder, that is the business community, who will be represented by Peter Musombe Juma. Let's clap for him as he comes.
Waziri C.S. Mbadi and our beloved governor, allow me to write on already established protocols. On a lighter note, I always thought Waziri was one of us. I even looked at his face and thought he has deep roots in Western. So welcome home. Thank you. You know, Mbadi is our name. It's a Western name here. I am Peter Musombe Juma. I represent the business community via the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce. I'm a director there, and fortunately I'm also in charge of HR and advocacy. I'd like to make a few comments because I know the schedule is very tight. The business community supports fiscal and revenue mobilization, but urges that the proposed budget be implemented in a manner that protects enterprise growth, jobs, and investment, especially for SMEs, usually in areas of productive sectors. On matters of taxation and compliance, the business community position that we support fair taxation and digital compliance led by the Kenya Revenue Authority, but we request a first implementation of new compliance requirements and withholding measures. I think they need to be more capacity building because you cannot begin to delegate where you have not built capacity. So our ask is very simple, that we simplify e-teams, compliance for the SMEs. We avoid retrospective enforcement and punitive penalties during transition periods. That is what we are gently asking. In terms of investment and incentives, we welcome incentives such as investment allowance and preferential tax regimes. And we support Kenya's positioning as a regional financial investment hub through the Nairobi International Finance Center. Our ask is to expand access to initiatives beyond large firms to include scalable SMEs. And ensure clarity and predictivity of incentive qualification criteria. I want to repeat there that we need to ensure clarity and a more predictable way of incentive and qualification criteria. In terms of sector growth and value addition, we strongly support budget focus on agriculture, manufacturing, ICT, housing, and infrastructure. But we would like to prioritize policies that promote local value addition and exports. So our advocacy question is is to protect local manufacturers from unfair imports. And also maintain VAT relief on essential inputs and productive equipment. And Waziri, you promised that you will reduce VAT. If you reduce VAT, there will be more compliance and there will be more inflows into the kitty. I dare you to try that. You will be very popular and the country will be prosperous. For SMAC and formalization, we agree on the need to broaden tax base, but caution against overburdening small businesses. We would like support for turnover tax as a simplified regime. Our advocacy question is to provide incentives, credit access, procurement preferences, training alongside formalization. We would like to harmonize national and county levies to reduce multiple taxation. This one, I think, also falls in the purview of the MCS and our beloved governor, that we are likely to be doing multiple taxation legislation. So we need to be involved to be able also to put our in thoughts there. I'm almost through. In terms of infrastructure and cost of doing business, we support continued investment in roads, energy, logistics, and digital infrastructure. And Waziri and Governor, if you want to help Western Kenya, please ensure the road that passes through Kapsabet to Bungoma, through Sichirai here, through the forest, is really upgraded, because Kakamega is a sleeping giant that is sandwiched. We don't have a major highway passing through, and it will reduce transport costs and travel time considerably. Okay. Now, let me just finish, because so the business community calls for a balanced budget approach that strengthens revenue while guarding enterprise sustainability, employment, and competitiveness. Collaboration between government and business is essential to achieve inclusive growth. So our core message is tax compliance must grow alongside business growth, not at its expense. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you. Peter said that he is daring Waziri so that he becomes popular. If you know John Mbadi, say amen. If you know John Mbadi, say amen. Amen. Peter Waziri is very popular. And Kenya is also on course to be prosperous. And because Waziri is the brainchild behind realization of Kenya into a first world country, let's clap for that wisdom. Thank you. I'll also welcome Penina Biketi, representation from Bunge la Wamama Mashinani. Hatumpigi makofi jamani mama. Karibu sana Penina Biketi.
Mutaniruhusu niongee kwa lugha ya taifa. Waheshimiwa wetu wapendwa waliofika hapa, gavana wetu, waziri wetu, hamjamboni. Waziri, karibu nyumbani. Kakamega ni Mlembe Nation na tunapenda wageni. So just feel at home. Nitaenda kwa maswali yangu ama mapendekezo concerning the budget of local women ama mashinani women. Tunapata mostly sana wale wenye wako town always benefit, lakini wamama wa mashinani wamebaki hohehahe, hawana mtu wa kumsupport. So tunaomba serikali, wakati you are allocating the budgets, mkifanya budget yenu, ongeza pesa kwa women empowerment ili ifikie the local mama hapo chini au pia wainuke. The second one, after kuongeza hiyo pesa kwa huyo mama, sisi wa mama ndio tunashikilia boma. Tunahitaji maji. Kwa budget yenu mnapo allocate, hakikisha maji imefikia huyo local mama. Isimgharimu muda mwingi anaenda kutafuta maji instead ya kuja kufanya biashara yake. Ya tatu, tuko na agenda. Mnaona sana sana wamama wanauliwa, wanapigwa. So tunaomba wakati mna allocate the budget, ikuwe na sensitization kwa yule mama hapo chini. Ajue anapoona kuna danger, atajitetea aje kwa wale, ama atafikia aje usaidizi wake. Juu atatoka mbali, anakuja kufika, hajapata msaada. So tunataka sensitization juu wanaingia kwa watu wenye hawawasaidii. Anakuambia nitakupeleka mahali fulani ambapo haezi saidika. Ukienda kwa ule mtu wa karibu, kama ni mwanaume amemtesa, huyu mwanaume anatoa pesa kidogo, mambo inanyamaziwa hapo katikati. Sasa tunataka budget iongeze kwa huyu mama apate haki yake. Generally, tunaomba serikali kwa budget yenu ongeza budget ya strengthen public finance management system for gender equality and women empowerment. Nitauliza swali about Safaricom privatization. Mimi kama mama huwa natumia Safaricom always. Sasa tukisikia sijui kama ni rumors ama iko, we don't know. The waziri ndio to elaborate. How are we sure kwamba wamama tunaotumia Safaricom ikikuwa privatized tutakuwa na ile access ya kupata pesa zetu hazitapotea? We want to be sure kwamba hiyo the company will continue kusaidia huyo mama, juu hiyo ndio tu njia moja ya make transaction mostly. Then ya mwisho kuna pipeline privatization pia. Sisi watu tunatumia pikipiki, tunatumia tuk-tuk. Wakati mnasema inakuwa ya kibinafsi, how are we sure kwamba ile ushuru haitapanda juu? Sisi tushindwe hata hiyo fare ya kufika, kama ni sokoni tuchukue mboga, ama tufike mahali penye tunasaidi tupeleke maoni yetu. Hayo ndio maswali yetu. Penina Biketi, bunge la mwananchi. Asanteni.
Asante sana Penina kwa hayo mengi na machache. John Were is also a representation from bunge la wananchi. Welcome.
The Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Finance, His Excellency the Governor of Kakamega, and all guests who are present today, good morning. My name is John Were. I've come to represent Bunge la Wananchi. Bunge la Wananchi is a lobby group that has weekly sittings in Kakamega town here, and I invite all of you to come and join us and get to know what we are doing. But more specifically, I'd like to thank the Minister of Finance. This is the first time I'm interacting with the Minister of Finance one-on-one. I would say one-on-one because others are like when they become ministers, they become bureaucrats. You cannot rig them when you want to. Otherwise, I want to thank you so much for opening up that office and for coming here today. Please keep it up. Two, we have a few concerns as Bunge la Wananchi. One of them is And Bwana Minister, I'll ask you this question. Why did you choose on Safaricom and Kenya Pipeline Company for privatization? Why not the others? Why the two only? Maybe you need to tell us why you zero down on the two. Then two, what are the safeguards in terms of, ring fencing the money that is going to be raised out of this process? How will you ensure that the money is safe? Is not, stolen, for lack of a better word, by the cartels of this country. We don't know where they operate from. And three, what wamesema kwamba you're one of us in terms of, where you come from. You look more Luo than Luo, or Suba for that matter. Now, if I may ask as I'm not a politician, but I'm just asking a question. In this privatization of Safaricom and Kenya Pipeline, is there anything for region? If I may ask, and when I talk of region, I mean you're also part of it. Tutapata nini kutoka hapo? Let me talk about the budget. Let's not make a few comments about the budget. Bwana Waziri, nakusi kuna kitu kimoja wananchi waliuliza. Why don't we consolidate this bursary funds into one so that they can benefit all wananchi equally instead of having different, you have maybe nyota, CDF, and why don't you bring them together so that we run them as one, as a separate entity, so that all of us benefit from it? And then, Bwana Minister, there's a time you wanted to reduce, you're talking about reducing the allowances of members of parliament. I know you're no longer there. We as Bunge la Wananchi feel that, MPs are paid to do their work, oversight, legislation and all that. But you still pay them allowances for sitting in the parliament. What do you do with those allowances so that money can help us do these projects? That's just a request which I'm sure you can work on it. And then, kuna kitu ingine about, this e-government procurement. I heard you talk about it with a lot of, steam. I'd like you to put in more effort so that we go digital in terms of procurement and all the government services, because we shall save a lot and also cut on corruption. And especially, I'm concerned about the Ministry of Lands where now everything is done manually. Is there a way you can ensure that, the Ministry of Lands, we register the services so that when I get quality service, instead of, people hang around the corridors here and asking for money from old mamas from the village. Last but not least, I've been in public service and I'm now out of it. What I'm seeing now in the public service is different from what I used to see when I was there. And, Bwana Minister, you are very lucky that you have been in both places. You have been in public service, you have been a member of parliament, and now you are a cabinet minister. I'm sure you are seeing this ministry in a broader, space than you used to see it. Therefore, as an outsider, I feel and I believe that you are doing a good job because you are very open and articulate on issues pertaining to the running of the finance of this country. Because, as I said earlier, we ndio waziri wa kwanza to come on the ground and sit down with us. And I want you to go further. Ukipata nafasi, kuja ukaa na bunge la wananchi hapa. Na ukuja na governor tafadhali. Tuulize maswali na tupate majibu. Shall move faster. I think I don't want to. Lastly, there's this issue of bunge la wananchi. These groups, people think they're there for political purposes. Sisi, we are non-aligned in terms of politics. We are neither in government, we are neither in the opposition or in government. Please, we'd like you to come and engage us so that we see how best we can run this country. But I can tell you for free, you are in the right trajectory. Thank you so much. May God bless you.
That is John Were. John, the hottest corners of hell are reserved for political neutralists. There is no way you can say uji uko opposition, uji uko kwa serikali. You have to belong somewhere. Kakamega, are we somewhere? Tunajua tuko wapi? Asante sana. So, at this point, I think we are getting to the youth. The youth are the largest demographic in our country, and we have to appreciate the role of the youth in the day-to-day activities of the government. You know, I think when I was setting the context, I did not explain why we are here. We are here to speak on privatization and budget 2026-2027. So, this time the youth will be at the center of it. Our voices must be heard. And I implore you, the youth, as a representative come to speak, yeah? Understand what privatization is. Understand how can your voice be impactful in the next financial year. It is very important that we read these things, we go through them. We don't just have an overview and then you want to stick to rumors. So let us be very impactful this year, so that when budget will be read, we stand at a point where we say, we know that which the budget entails, we know what it is in there for us, and we appreciate the role of National Treasury in inclusion of the youth matters fiscal planning, right? So I would like to welcome the representation of students. The first one is KMTC. That will be Mercy Ambassa. Let's clap for Mercy as she comes.
Cabinet Secretary Mbadi and Dr. Baraza, our governor, all protocol observed, good morning. So my name is Mercy Ambassa, a clinical medicine student. I'm in third year, doing my final year this year. I'm here to represent the Kakamega Kenya Medical Training College. I'll be talking more about on the medical sector, because that's what affecting us. So we were given a heading on budgeting, privatization of Safaricom and privatization of pipeline. I'll just say more, just a brief on what I know concerning that. Concerning budgeting, I'll start with it. On budgeting, I'll talk about two things, the education funding and health sector budgeting. I'll really be personal on this because this has really affected us as an institution. On education funding, I'll be more on the health sector. For us as a Kenya Medical Training Sector, the training college, actually for us, we usually get our help funding very at a delayed, it usually comes in a delayed point. You see that we will really apply like based on the university and also us also apply for it. But you find that our colleagues will start complaining that the universities have been given, their money has been allocated, but you see for us, it's delaying. And you see for us, we have to, when we do our exams, for us to be qualified to do our exams, we have to finish our school fees. And then you find that this delaying of the help financing, it's really affecting us. Some of us, we are even forced to defer. And the other thing is based on lecturers' payment. You see that it's delaying, it's affecting our classes. Even on the health sector budgeting, you find out that when you go to our clinical practice, you see we are allocated in different ward rotations, but now you get, when you get to a certain clinical ward, you find that the supervisor in there starts complaining that your institution is not paying us. And when you go deep to search into it, that you find out that there is poor budgeting, which may have resulted to poor allocation of funds. This has really affected us. Yes. On privatization of Safaricom, us as medical students, we are also directly affected on it. You find most of our classes are online, and we are really concerned about that. You see, sometimes the Wi-Fi of the school is not that really effective, so you have to find that I have to buy my own, but I have to fund for my own bundles, which really affect us. So we are really questioning, will this privatization of Safaricom affect our online classes? Will it cause a disruption on it? Also on this, we have embarked on jiunge payment of our school fees, and most of the time we find out that we are paying using the M-Pesa. Will it affect our transaction cost? That is really of a concern, because as of Comrade, we are also concerned of the transaction cost. On privatization of pipeline, I don't know much about it, but I know that a better privatization will really focus on stabilizing the fuel prices. So for us, if the private sector gets that much of a percentage, it will really affect us. I'll just give an example. It will give a sharp rise also on the transportation. You see, for us, last year I was supposed to go. The clinical medicine department, we are supposed to go for our attachment, but it became like a burden for us, because now the school say that we cannot be able to fund for that transport because of the fuel pricing. So all of us were supposed to do that cost burden. We had to, like for me, I was to go to Ahero. I had to travel by myself with all the goods that all the luggages that I'm supposed to carry, and it was really expensive. So I was just requesting be considerate on that. Yes, and that is all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mercy. We have representative from Sigale National Polytechnic, Wilberforce Mahi. Say your name. Your name.
That one attack.
Your name.
Oh, my name. Okay. To the Cabinet Secretary Finance, our able governor, the National Security Council around, MCAs and all leaders, good morning. I go by the name Wilberforce Mali, the President, Sigalagala National Polytechnic. And through your order, Mr. CS, before I speak, I will wish all the students around to stand so that they can be recognized. All the student leaders to stand up. All comrades, not all the comrades.
Comrades, power!
Power!
Comrades, power!
Power!
Waziri, power!
Power!
Secretary, power! Waziri, power! Sasa ya nchi mzima imekuja Kakamega leo. Comrades, power! Comrades, power!
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 Power! Okay, thank you. And I'll go direct to the 2 to 3 points that we need to share out. On the issue of the budget, allocation and budgeting of this country, to our able Waziri, from the students, we beseech that at least we have an additional funds to the education sector, because that is where most of the youths are. Because number 2, you find that you allocate less funds in terms of the scholarship and the help, yet, if I give you a live example, from the institution where I lead, we have a population of around 20,000, and since last year, we have not received any government scholarship funds. So how do you expect the students to catch up and have a learning that is very smooth? So we beseech, when you are doing this financial year, have more additional funds in terms of help and government scholarship to these tertiary institutions. Number two, I remember last year when we were in the Jukwaa la Usalama and the Jukwaa la Usomi forums, we advocated for more funds to be added to the county governments so that the county governments can be able to put the street lights that are going to help the security sector in these institutions. So in your honor, we beseech that you also add these counties more funds so that they can put more street lights, because our students are suffering when it comes to security matters. And another thing that we need to address when it comes to the budgeting of this country, we'll seek that we've heard the government is advocating for what we call the National Infrastructure Development Fund. And it has stated categorically that these funds are going to help in developing some of the roads and other, be it affordable markets and affordable hostels. So we also beseech that we will fast track the process so that these institutions can be able to get the hostels that can accommodate these students, because some of the students are coming from poor backgrounds that cannot sustain to pay the rent within the due course. Another thing, we are talking about the youth inclusion when it comes to more funds allocation in terms of SMEs or the youth groups, because you'll find that when you are allocating funds in terms of the SMEs, most of the funds are taken to the old generations, but the youth who are taking 80% of the population of this country are denied a chance to get these funds, because when you apply, you are told we need a company that is working for more than 3 years. Where are these people getting these funds so that they can have this company to run? So we beseech you, please add more inclusion in this youth, give more funds when it comes to the SMEs, and then we will be very much appreciative. On the issue of the privatization of the Safaricom and the pipeline, we beseech that at least we have a strategic assets protection, so that as we are privatizing these assets, can we have a clear protection on the assets, not just privatizing without a clear protection. Another thing, we need transparency and public participation, because you just read in the newspapers and you are told that we've privatized Safaricom, we've privatized pipeline. So as a youth and as comrades of this great country, we beseech that at least you have a talk with us the way you've had this one today, so that each and every person in this country may be able to understand each and every step that is being partaken in each and every activity. Also, as you are doing the public participation, you also involve the lower class, because they also add the value to this economy. Lastly, as you've had this conversation, I'd like to say that this will not be the last conversation with the young people, but we beseech that coming in future, we also, just students alone, have a talk with you so that we can share these conversations together. We can shape this country together for the betterment of tomorrow. As I've said, I'm Malul Bafos, I do water engineering waziri, and I'm almost to finish my academics. In case of anything, we need to develop this country together, na nikipewa chance hapo mbele siwezi kataa. Asante.
Thank you, Wilberforce. Asante sana. Lastly, now I'll take one representative from the university, that is Masinde Muliro, University of Science and Technology. I'll welcome Valentine Obade to speak on behalf of them. Valentine Obade, quickly. Let's clap for Valentine as he comes. That is the largest university in the region. Masinde Muliro, University of Science and Technology. Valentine, quickly.
$1 million, $2 million, testing, microphone, 1 million. I believe that this meeting was to be fiscal as possible. Cynthia, I'm really grateful first to the Almighty. Thanks for my mannerism of taking a back seat, but as you know, that we are told that the highest level of studies, because I believe that learning is continual and never ceases, is at the university. But when I have got my elders, and the spaces are relating, as a wise man, we do what? We bend the knee. So I bent the knee, and we were there. Waziri, by your permission, I know time is of much essence and we don't have much. I would plead with you. I would plead with you humbly, together with the audience, that I invite one member to take around 3 minutes so that we can sum it up, because this is also the summit of studies. Kindly, if you allow me. Yes, so down.
To Waziri FCPA John Mbadi, the governor of Kakamega, FCPA Fernandez Baraza, the MCs around, the National Student Budget Forum Committee led by Bwana Aira, the comrades around, good morning. Comrades, power! Comrades, power! Comrades, wisdom! Comrades, two-term! Comrades, two-term! I go by the name Odongo James. Odongo James is a student leader from Masinde Muliro University. I come from Siaya County, the county of legends. We are still mourning Baba, though I don't want to touch there. And for that reason, I want us to take 1 minute of silence to kumbuke Baba. Thank you so much. Now, Bwana Waziri, the man before you is not just a student leader, but also someone who people depend on for direction. As I stand here, most of these congregants here in Western as a whole, they refer to me as the chairman. From our small home, that is the Luo, all the leaders in Masinde Muliro University, Alope University, Kibabi University, Sigalagala Polytechnic, thank you. I am their chair. And so, meet Waziri, but they could not get a chance because the chances were limited. But believe you me, outside there we have so many comrades who are disciplined. They are not just comrades, but disciplined comrades. And they want to have a chat with you. So even as we talk about the budget and the privatization, we want to let you know that so many comrades wanted to come here. That brings me to this point, that the national committee is not just enough. We need to narrow it down to the county level, so that in all the 47 counties, we have a representative who can reach comrades in their respective counties. Clap for me, comrades. Why am I saying this? Because whatever we are discussing here, after this, there is need for us to share this information. Me alone as Odongo, I'm in most, and perhaps I may be the only student who is coming from Siaya County here. And so if I am to share with the comrades whatever we have discussed today, only the people who can access my social media platforms or even my personal number will get this information. But now if you can narrow it down so that we also have committees in our 47 counties, then it can be more productive. And that will enable the youths, not just comrades, but the youths back in the villages to know matters fiscal planning. Number two, on behalf of the comrades, juzi hapa rais amekuwa akizindua hii program ya Nyota, and the target audience are people who did not make it to the university. We have many comrades who have been graduating, but then after graduation they end up being jobless. How I wish that the government can consider to give the graduates a grant. Immediately we graduate, we can qualify to get a grant of maybe 20,000, because I believe someone who has been educated is someone who has skills, and therefore when given resources, he can do something. I'm not saying that to underrate those who did not make it to the university or colleges, but I'm saying that to help the government, because we are forgetting, or rather we are leaving people who have skills. Last but not least, Bwana Waziri na Bwana Governor, hapa iko comrades wengi sana na wamekuja kuwasalimia. So on the behalf of comrades who are here, I kindly request that tukimaliza na waomba muangalie na macho mazuri jameni. Asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki. Nikisema one tunasema two term. One, two term. One, two term. Baraza, two term. Baraza, two term. Mbadi, two term. Mbadi. Na Ruto je? Ruto je? Asanteni sana.
Thank you. I believe it was in order, because that is Kerodongo, not the President of the Republic, but Kerodongo in Western Fraternity or Caucus. Now you know. Yes, I was told about the power of silence, and I want to wrap it up. I believe that the youth carries the vigor of this nation, while Wazee carries the wisdom. So Wazee wisdom. Wazee wisdom. You hear they have wisdom but no vigor. Now I want to hear it from the youth. Comrades, power! Comrades, power! Comrades, viva! Thank you to the CS Treasury, to the Governor, Dr. Fernandez, to all the dignitaries, to Bunge la Wananchi, and the greatest of all powers after the power of God, the comrades. Good morning. I am Mbadi Daniel Valentine, and as I told you, Waziri, that the epitome of everything in the youth sector is the university. As you have seen what had just happened, that tells you that even if it is on politics and everything, it's in the university. But let me not be ignorant about the topic of today, which was privatization of Safaricom and pipeline companies together with the budget. Now, what I want to say is this. Before, we have been acting ignorantly. People have been acting because they do not know the gist of whatever it is. As we speak, the government is planning to sell 15% of its shares, which around is 6 billion. I'm not an economic student, but I've got a test for such things. I'm a medical student. But what am I trying to say? If at 15 we are going to get a whooping 240 billion, that is going to help tackle the very detrimental services that we need without raising taxes or borrowing, then we as the youth of this country, we are in for it. I believe this is the discussion that we people should do what? We should look unto. Not just hearing when someone yaps and says that, you know, things are going to be your Safaricom is going to be sold. What I'm praying for is that the confidentiality and safety of our data be taken care of, because I know at the end of it all, the government is going to remain with 20% ownership, which is very fair. Lastly, as I finish, Waziri, there's a verse in the Bible, Revelation 2 verse 19, which says that I know thy works, I know thy patience, I know thy faith. Many people don't know truly how a good workman you are. I am from Super South, and I can tell them, because apart from that, you are a trailblazer. Mr. John had just said here that there is no one that has ever come, there is no CS that has come and talked to you. Otherwise, Mungu akubariki, tuwe pamoja. Nataka kusikia salute za comrades, and I'm the incoming president of MUST 2026, 2027, and we will continue working together. Comrades power! Comrades power! Mungu awabariki.
Thank you, Valentine. Governor, that is the incoming President, Masinde Muliro, University of Science and Technology. Silence. Silence. Kakamega hoye. Kakamega hoye. We are going now to the county government. Presentation of the members of the county assembly. I'll start with persons with disability representative. Representative, that is Honorable Kabiti. Please. Honorable Habiti. Ha? Okay, that one. Hatibi. Let's welcome Honorable Hatibi as she comes to speak. Where is she? Oh, we can take the mic to her. The mic is coming. Let's clap for Honorable.
Waziri wetu, gavana na wale ambao wameweza kualikwa, habari zenu wote. Kwa majina naitwa Roselyn Katibi Akoi, na represent person with disability katika bunge letu la Kakamega County Assembly. Jambo la kwanza nataka nishukuru waziri kwa ajili ya kuja Kakamega na kupata maoni yetu. Walemavu wangapi wako hapa? Inua mikono. Tuko walemavu 1 2 karibu 4. Waziri, nafikiri ya kwamba ni vizuri pia tukiwa na mkutano kama huu walemavu waakilishwe vizuri. Na tukiangalia tena katika paneli ya waziri, pole, sijaona wakiakilishwa hapo na mlemavu. Ambapo najua kwamba katika katiba letu yafaa tuwe na 5% yetu. Nataka niko na mambo mawili matatu tu, sina mambo mengi. Nataka niulize, tuko na privatization ni mzuri, lakini ombi langu ni kwamba kama Kakamega County ama katika Western yetu tutapata share gani? Na ni kampuni ama ni kampuni gani ambazo zitakuwa privatized? Ni vizuri tujue hizo kampuni na tujue share yetu kama Western tutapata nini na walemavu tutapata nini. Jambo lingine ni kwamba wafanyikazi wetu ama wafanyikazi ambao watakuwa wanafanya kazi katika hizo kampuni, tuko na surety gani kama sisi watu wa Western tutapata hiyo kazi, tutaweza kuingia katika hizo ajira. Jambo lingine ni kwamba ni vizuri tujue ni walemavu wangapi wataweza kuandikwa, kwa sababu wakati tunapofanya mambo ya advertisement, walemavu wameweza kusoma, na pia kuna wale ambao ni vizuri ya kwamba tufanye nini, wakuwe katika kitengo cha mbele kuandikwa, ama katika ile 5% yetu tu katika hizo nini tupate. Alafu la mwisho ni kwamba privatization should be open and transparent, and the possibility bidding and printing should be open, ili walemavu wakaweze kupata hizo ajira. Hata kama ni polisi nini, walemavu ningeomba kwamba sijaiona mlemavu akiwa polisi. Kwa hivyo naomba kwamba mtukumbuke. Unajua ni vizuri, unajua naongea hivyo kwa sababu waziri yako hapa. Msitutenge sana. Asante.
Mheshimiwa Hatibi, Mheshimiwa amesema kuwa anajiuliza ni kwa nini hayuko hapa mbele, lakini waziri ni mwenye fikra na busara, ndio maana alisema lazima uongee, na amesikia yale ambayo umesema. Asante. We'll also have another representative from the County Assembly, that is Honorable Akosi. Honorable Akosi, you can come quickly.
Waziri wetu CS Mbadi, gavana wa jimbo la Kakamega, FCPA Fernandez Baraza, na wananchi wote, Mungu yu mwema kila wakati. Kwa majina naitwa Boniface Akosi. Mimi ni MCA wa bunge gatuzi la Kakamega, wadi ya Shinoi Shikomari Esumea kule eneo bunge la Navakholo. Kwanza kabisa, kwa ruhusa ya naibu wa spika, naomba kusema tumekuja hapa waheshimiwa, na pia tulikuja na wafanyikazi wa bunge la gatuzi la Kakamega ambao hatukuweza kuwatambua. Tunaomba tu waweze kutambulika kuwa wako pamoja na sisi. So may the staffs of the County Assembly of Kakamega be upstanding for recognition. Yes, those are our think tanks. And whatever discussion we are having here, those are the ones who are going to put it into a functional document. We appreciate your presence. Thank you. Waziri, we want to appreciate for the session we have here. And on behalf of the members of the County Assemblies, one, thank you to have come down to meet us and meet the people of this great county of Kakamega for this very noble conversation. We have two conversations around here. One is on privatization. And the simple question in the House is, are we discussing about the ownership or the efficiency? If we are able to answer that, we will not really struggle on the privatization issue of the two proposed parastatals. If the efficiency, if they are giving the service to the people and Kenyans are benefiting, then we have no problem with it. However, our trouble will be if we privatize, get whatever, offload whatever shares we have, get those funds to the national kitty, then those funds are not put into the proper use, then there will be a problem. So Waziri, we would really want to task you with that. Whatever that is being collected and taken to the national kitty, we are just openly asking, let it be put into the proper use, because what Kenyans want are better services. And once we get the better services, we will not have any trouble with whatever policies or whatever proposals you are bringing to our end. We shall reciprocate by supporting the cause. The government has never been in the business of making profit. The government has always been in the business of giving service to its citizens. So we appreciate for your coming, and because you sat and you have real economists and planners around the ministry, I know they are giving you the right advices that will see Kenya move forward. About budgets and making process the 2026-2027, again, another question in the House is a simple one. There is budgeting and there is the implementation. We make so many proposals during the budget making process. Some we get to see them, many we never get to see them put into action. So our prayer will be, as a people, especially the Western region, for a very long time we felt we've been sidelined, tumeachwa nyuma. whatever programs we are proposing. We are saying we appreciate this government. However, we will want to see many of the programs that were started being completed. And once that is done, again as a people, we will always support the process. But if we come during the budget making process, make our numerous proposals, and we don't get to see them being implemented, that's when we always sometimes see people look like they are resisting when they're just saying, we made a number of we made a number of proposals that have not been materialized. However, I work with the County Assembly of Kakamega, and we really want to I want to appreciate the youth leader who so recognized our fallen hero, Baba Raila Amolo Odinga. I belong to UDA, but we are in broad-based government. Raila Amolo Odinga was the father of devolution. If we really cherished and loved Raila, let us protect devolution. Devolution today, counties are the biggest employers today. And for us to defend devolution, Waziri, now that you are here, we can never be functional. You know, functions as accompanied with the resources. We have continued to experience delayed exchequer releases. However, this government has tried compared to the previous regimes. On that one, because I worked with the County Assembly of 1722, 2227, to be very honest, you are giving your best. However, we continue to witness those delays. But Waziri, the problem is not just about the exchequer release. For the governor here to be able to implement whatever proposed projects, resources must be made available. There is another office that you must raid and address, the Office of the Controller of Budget. That office, it has a lot of bureaucracies that the exchequer may be released on the 15th of this month and funds will be accessed after a month. While everybody believes funds are with the counties, funds are still being held in the National Treasury because of the bureaucracies by the Controller of Budget Office. That is a conversation that if we really want to see these governments operate efficiently and smoothly, that must be addressed. And finally, it saddens me to see sometimes when our leaders are just fighting to agree on how much must get to the counties. It saddens me. Waziri, you can be the savior here. If they are proposing less, you give more. So that you confirm to them that there is this money. But if you are the one who tried to negotiate hapo waambie ndeni mtufinya hapo hivyo, these counties are serving the very people this national government is serving, and we want the best for these people, and the best can only come accompanied with the resource allocation. With that much, I want to thank you. Mubarikiwe sana, mimi ndiye Akosi. Thank you.
For gender parity, finally we'll welcome Honorable Victoria Zila. Let's clap for Mheshimiwa as she comes.
Thank you so much. Our Cabinet Secretary, Treasury, Honorable Mbadi, my able Governor, Dr. Fernandez Baraza, all stakeholders present, good morning. I am Victoria Zila, a member of the County Assembly. The tragedy of speaking last, it's because much or almost everything has been said. However, just to build on what my colleagues have said, on privatization, Bwana Mbadi, I want to use the very simplistic analogy to explain it. I'm a parent and I'm a mother. You assume I have a family, and I know every day I incur expenses. I have to see how well I can be able to manage my family, right? So I'll need to establish funds on how my children can be educated. And maybe I have a kid who has a special need that needs funds to support healthcare. among very many other needs. Sometimes, sitting down and saying, today I'll sell my vehicle and use the money to finance, it might be difficult. If I don't manage that funds properly, I will still go back to the same problem. Then tomorrow I'll sell my piece of land, and another day I'll sell my investment, and I'll be stuck in that circle because of one thing: poor management of those funding. When we talk today about privatization, we are talking about giving out our investment as a nation to the private sector. The fear is, and what stakeholders contributed here, how well are we ring-fencing these funds? Do we have proper framework to ensure that these funds are well managed and safeguarded so that as a nation we can prosper? How well can we oversight these funds? How secure are these funds? Those are the questions that everybody is asking. Because at the end of the day, we might end up privatizing our national treasure and end up as a nation that has failed to prosper. Bwana Mbadi, as you come here, I'll want you to convince me that it makes sense that if we privatize these funds, we'll be able to prosper as a country. On budgeting, I'll just want to say a few things because much has already been said, especially by my predecessor, Akosi, about the challenges we are having from exchequer release to the control of budget office. I wouldn't wish to repeat that. But as someone who has been in the CSO world for 10 years, a strong advocate of healthcare, Bwana Mbadi, I'm a bit worried. You understand the current situation as a country. We are having our major donors who are exiting. We have USAID, which has closed down, and many other international partners. Truth be told, these partners played a very key role in supporting the healthcare sector, especially for the county governments. Today, my governor here has to work extra hard to ensure he delivers in healthcare. But truth be told, the resources available today are not sufficient. Healthcare is such a huge burden. We have the Ministry of Health at the national government. I would wish to beg, as you do your budgeting next time, prioritize healthcare. We can never thrive with a nation that is not healthy. And I'd also wish to suggest that as they get this funding, let them complement what we are doing at the county level. We are having a serious issue with cancer. Bwana Mbadi, most facilities don't have the capacity to do screening. If we are not able to take care of preventative measures, we have a very huge crisis ahead of us. I'm worried as a mother, how can we ensure that we have maternal death coming down to zero? The county government has funding, yes. We do our best to budget that, but it is not enough. I request that we do we increase on funding towards healthcare so that we can be able to cushion the counties. Number two, on budgeting, I would appreciate if we also look into infrastructure development. I want to acknowledge and salute your government for the deal of ensuring there's a dual carriage from Nairobi to Rironi, the Nairobi-Rironi Summit. It is very important if we extend that before we go into the next election to the Western region. That is the only way we can open up the market in Western Kenya and opening up to our neighboring countries. Education sector, as much has already been mentioned, it is my prayer that we collapse all funds. There is no point of having too many bursaries. We have Ministry of Education, they have their own funding, we have help. The dream was to ensure we have free education. And how do we get there? Education is the basic equalizer of humanity right now. We are struggling at many levels, but when we make education affordable, we'll be able to have a very productive country. Lastly, Bwana Mbadi, Kakamega County, I was born and raised here. Kakamega County is very strategic. Even our predecessors ensured infrastructure and the governor has expanded on the same. Kakamega County is the second most populous county in Kenya. That means there is a very huge burden of young people who are 74%, and most of them are not employed. I want us to think differently. Most of the time while we do our budgeting, we are not looking at how best do we address these issues. Sending our people abroad might not be able to solve it. Some of us, we are so attached to our motherland, we are not willing to go and work abroad. I appreciate that we have an industrial park in Likuyani. Thank you so much. I appreciate we have an industrial park in Likuyani, whereby the county government is supposed to contribute 50%. A national government produce 50%. I want you to look today at Kakamega County from a very different lens. The sector, industrial sector that exists here majorly is the sugar sector. We had a vision of having a motorcycle plant. We have a vision of ensuring our young people in cottage industries are able to grow and create employment for their peers. It is my prayer that as you do your budgeting next time, let's place Kakamega as a very strategic place that we can develop several industries, and please ensure that way we will be able to turn around the economy of this country. That way we will be able to create employment for these young people. That way we will be able to prosper as a county. And as a member of county assembly, that is one way we can increase our revenue collection. Lastly, allow me mention one thing, because I'm the goodwill ambassador of this project. We have a plan to establish a 2 billion worth aquaculture center and research institute in Matungu. I want to appreciate my governor here. He has been kind enough and he has donated 25 acres towards that development. This is a project under Kenya Marine. Kenya Marine has heavily depended on donors to ensure they expand on this sector. Kakamega has a great potential for aquaculture. So I want to beseech you as you do your next budgeting, beyond us waiting for them to be supported by World Bank to bring this dream to life, kindly prioritize funding that parastatal so that they can also actualize this dream. And we will really appreciate. For those very few or very many remarks, thank you so much. Asante.
Thank you. At this point, we will first introduce the governor, Kakamega County, Governor Fernandez Baraza, who will answer the first set of questions. Please let's all be upstanding as we welcome Governor.